$35,000 Chinese trucks are obliterating $70,000 F-150s, and the American market collapse is coming because what these Chinese pickups offer for half the price is about to destroy everything Detroit thought they knew about truck pricing and customer loyalty. Picture the Jack Hunter EV with 310 miles of range, luxury interiors, and off-road capability that rivals a Raptor, selling for $35,000. Meanwhile, Ford wants $70,000 for an F-150 Lightning with less range, cheaper materials, and features that should be standard but cost extra. We're not talking about minor price differences, we're talking about Chinese trucks delivering twice the value for half the money. But here's what's really terrifying. American automakers. These aren't cheap knockoffs anymore. The BYD Shark accelerates faster than most gas trucks. The GWM Power has luxury that puts Lincoln to shame. And they're all coming to America with warranties and dealer networks that Ford can't match. The most shocking discovery came from leaked internal Ford documents showing they've known about the Chinese truck invasion for years, but chose to keep prices high and quality low, betting that American buyers would never consider foreign trucks. That BET is about to cost them everything. Are we watching the beginning of the end for American truck dominance? Or will Ford, Chevy, and Ram figure out how to compete before Chinese trucks make them as irrelevant as American TVs and smartphones? For nearly half a century, one name has towered above all others in the world of American trucks: the Ford F-150. Year after year, the F-Series has outsold every rival, racking up 750,789 units in 2023 alone. That's not just a number, it's a statement. In the full-size pickup segment, Ford captured over 52% of the market last year, a level of dominance that leaves Chevrolet, Ram, and GMC fighting for scraps. In showrooms from Texas to Michigan, the F-150 isn't just a vehicle. It's a badge of loyalty, a symbol of grit, and for many, a family tradition. But that loyalty comes at a cost. The starting price for a 2025 F-150 hovers around $38,000, and with a few options, that number climbs fast. A well-equipped Lightning or Platinum model can easily top $70,000. For buyers hoping to drive off with heated seats, adaptive cruise control, or even basic towing features, the price tag often balloons past what many families can afford. The average transaction price for a new full-size pickup in America now sits above $60,000, and for some buyers, monthly payments are stretching budgets to the breaking point. Yet, despite the sticker shock, the F-150's grip on the American imagination remains ironclad. 80% of Ford truck buyers stick with the brand when it's time to trade in, a loyalty rate that would make any automaker envious. In rural towns and bustling suburbs alike, these trucks haul lumber, towboats, and shuttle kids to football practice. They're a fixture at job sites, farms, and city streets, woven into the fabric of daily life. That connection runs deeper than horsepower or towing capacity. For many, buying American means supporting neighbors and local jobs. It's a matter of pride. Ford's Dearborn assembly lines and the generations of workers who built them are part of the story. Owners talk about reliability, about the peace of mind that comes from a nationwide dealer network, and about the trust built over decades. The F-150 isn't just a tool, it's an heirloom, passed down like a favorite hunting rifle or a grandfather's watch. But the price of that tradition keeps climbing. As wages struggle to keep up and inflation bites into paychecks, more buyers are forced to settle for stripped-down models or look to the used market. Young families and first-time buyers, especially in the South and West, are feeling squeezed. In recent surveys, nearly 70% said they'd consider switching brands for a $10,000 savings. For many, the American dream of owning a new truck is starting to feel out of reach. The stakes couldn't be higher. Ford's dominance in the full-size truck segment has been the backbone of Detroit's profits for decades, fueling investments in new factories and electric innovation. But with every price hike, cracks begin to show. The F-150's reign is built on more than steel and horsepower. It's built on the loyalty and wallets of millions of Americans. And as new challengers circle, the question isn't just whether buyers will stay loyal, it's whether they can afford to. A new force has begun to stir beyond America's borders. In 2023, Chinese automakers poured billions into pickup truck development, accelerating a campaign that's now reverberating across global markets. This isn't a slow build, it's a surge. Within just 12 months, exports of Chinese pickups jumped from $3.5 billion to $4.1 billion, a 17% leap that industry analysts called unprecedented. Most of these trucks aren't just rolling off the line in Shanghai or Chongqing and disappearing into the domestic market. They're shipping out, landing in places like Mexico and Australia, where they're already undercutting established brands. Models like the BYD Shark and the GWM Power are making headlines, not just for their price tags, but for the sheer speed at which they're capturing attention. The pace of this expansion is relentless. In April 2025 alone, Great Wall Motor exported over 17,500 pickups, a 13.6% year-on-year increase. JAC, another major player, saw a 38% surge in exports that same month, sending more than 6,000 units overseas. These aren't isolated wins, they're signs of a coordinated push. Chinese manufacturers are flooding new markets with a mix of hybrid, electric, and diesel models, each one fine-tuned for local tastes and regulations. In Australia, the GWM Power has started to outsell some homegrown favorites. In Mexico, the BYD Shark's launch drew crowds and sparked waiting lists. Even as American trucks hold their ground at home, the rest of the world is getting a taste of what's coming next. Electrification is at the heart of this momentum. In the first half of 2025, zero-emission medium and heavy-duty vehicles in China saw a 115% jump in sales, with battery electric trucks and swap-capable models leading the charge. Tractor-trailers hit a 30% market share for zero-emission vehicles, and dump trucks followed close behind at 23%. These aren't just numbers, they represent a fundamental shift in the way trucks are designed, sold, and used. Chinese brands are betting big on battery tech, advanced driver assists, and rapid production cycles that let them adapt to changing demand almost overnight. The world's biggest truck market is still the United States, but China's pickup sector is catching up fast. By 2024, the Chinese pickup market reached over $3.5 billion in value, set to climb past $4.1 billion by 2030. While diesel still dominates at home, electric and hybrid models are the fastest-growing segment, signaling where the next battle will be fought. Analysts point to a 2.9% compound annual growth rate through the end of the decade, driven by exports and a relentless focus on cost and tech innovation. For decades, American trucks stood unchallenged in their home arena. Now, a new challenger has entered the ring, one with global ambitions, deep pockets, and the power to rewrite the rules. The comfort of Detroit's dominance is giving way to a sense of vulnerability, as Chinese pickups prove they can not only compete, but win. The technical showdown is no longer theoretical. Around the world, the fight has already begun. The BYD Shark doesn't just arrive, it storms into the arena with numbers that demand attention. Under the hood, a turbocharged 1.5-liter engine works alongside dual electric motors, pushing out between 321 and 435 horsepower, depending on the trim. That's not just impressive for a mid-size pickup, it's a shot across the bow for rivals who once thought hybrid powertrains were a gimmick. On paper, the Shark's 0 to 100 km per hour sprint clocks in at a blistering 5.7 seconds. For comparison, That's quicker than most gas-powered trucks in its class, and it even nips at the heels of some performance SUVs. But raw speed is only part of the story. The Shark's plug-in hybrid setup delivers more than just a jolt off the line. It stretches the total driving range to over 500 miles on a full charge and tank. 50 miles of that can be driven on electricity alone, making it possible to handle daily commutes or short trips without burning a drop of fuel. For buyers who measure their trucks by how far they can go between stops, that's a game changer. What really separates the Shark from the pack isn't just the numbers, it's the way those numbers come together. The DMO off-road ladder frame chassis, developed in-house by BYD, pairs with advanced all-wheel drive and a virtual differential system. The result is a truck that can tackle sand, snow, and mud without breaking a sweat, all while keeping ride quality smooth enough for city streets. Adaptive drive modes let drivers switch personalities on the fly, from highway cruiser to trail conqueror. Inside, the Shark ditches the old playbook. The cabin is lined with soft-touch materials, stitched leather, and a rotating touchscreen that puts navigation, entertainment, and vehicle controls within easy reach. Wireless charging, adaptive cruise, and a suite of driver assists come standard, features that American brands often tuck behind expensive option packages. With the base price landing around $35,000 in some markets, the value proposition is hard to ignore. The engineering behind the Shark isn't just about cutting costs. BYD's Blade battery technology, proven in millions of electric cars, anchors the hybrid system with reliability and thermal safety that rivals have struggled to match. Underneath, the suspension is tuned for both payload and comfort, using lessons learned from rally testing and global endurance events. The result is a truck that's as ready for a construction site as it is for a weekend in the backcountry. Acceleration, range, and tech, these are the new battlegrounds. The BYD Shark arrives with the kind of specifications that used to belong to luxury models, but at a price that undercuts even basic American pickups. For buyers used to paying more and getting less, the equation is starting to flip. The question now isn't whether Chinese trucks can compete. It's whether Detroit can keep up with a challenger that's rewriting the rules with every mile. The sticker price for an F-150 Lightning tells a story all its own. Ford's electric flagship, once hailed as the future of American trucks, now starts at nearly $50,000 for the Pro trim, if you can even find one at that price. Tack on the features that buyers expect: extended range battery, heated seats, adaptive cruise, and the number jumps fast. The XLT and Lariat models regularly crest $70,000, with the Platinum trim pushing past $80,000. For that money, buyers get a 300-mile EPA estimated range, a maximum towing capacity of 14,000 pounds, and a cabin that, despite the price, still relies on plastic panels and upcharge for tech packages. Meanwhile, on the other side of the globe, Chinese automakers are rewriting the equation. The BYD Shark, a mid-size hybrid pickup, lands in Mexico and Australia with a price tag around $35,000 to $40,000. It's not just about the number on the window sticker, it's what's included. Dual electric motors, a turbocharged engine, over 430 horsepower, and a total driving range of over 500 miles when you combine gas and electric. The Shark's interior boasts stitched leather, a rotating touchscreen, wireless charging, and advanced driver assists, all standard, not buried behind premium packages. Even the base model feels upscale, with tech and comfort that would cost thousands extra on a Ford. For American buyers watching from afar, the contrast is hard to ignore. The Lightning, with its 300-mile range, asks for a down payment that rivals a small house. The Shark, with over 500 miles of driving potential and a suite of luxury features, comes in at half the cost. The GWM Power and Chang'an F70 follow the same playbook, offering modern interiors, hybrid or diesel power, and off-road capability for $18,000 to $33,000 in some markets. These trucks aren't just cheaper, they're loaded. It's not just about horsepower and torque anymore. It's about what buyers get for every dollar. In a world where the average American household is now spending over $700 a month on a new truck payment, the value gap feels like a punch to the gut. In recent surveys, nearly 7 out of 10 US truck shoppers said they'd switch brands for a $10,000 savings. That's not a small crack in the wall, it's a floodgate waiting to burst. The Lightning's defenders point to its unmatched towing, 14,000 pounds, enough to haul a horse trailer or a construction rig. But for the average family, that's more than they'll ever need. What they see instead is a truck that costs twice as much as its foreign rival, with fewer features and a range that, for many, still brings anxiety on long trips. The promise of American reliability, once unassailable, now faces a new kind of scrutiny. If a $35,000 Shark or a $33,000 GWM Cannon can deliver the tech, comfort, and performance buyers crave, what's left to justify the Lightning's price? Ford's gamble is clear. Bet on loyalty, bet on tradition, bet that buyers will pay more for a nameplate and a dealer network. But as Chinese trucks roll out more features for less, the math is changing. The Lightning's price gap isn't just a number, it's a warning shot. For every buyer priced out of Detroit's latest model, there's a growing temptation to look elsewhere. The era of paying more and getting less is running out of road. Inside Ford's glass towers in Dearborn, the mood has shifted from confidence to calculation. In boardrooms and behind closed doors, executives are no longer debating if Chinese trucks will arrive. They're wondering how soon and how hard they'll hit. The public face of Ford talks up innovation and loyalty, but inside, the conversation is laced with anxiety. CEO Jim Farley has not minced words in recent interviews, calling Chinese electric vehicles an existential threat. He warns, they could put us all out of business, and he's gone so far as to compare the challenge to the Japanese auto invasion of the 1980s, only this time on steroids. The sense of alarm isn't just for show. Ford's leadership has watched as Chinese brands like BYD and Great Wall Motor move with a speed and flexibility Detroit can't match. While Ford's engineers tinker with incremental updates to the F-150 and Lightning, Chinese competitors are rolling out new platforms, new powertrains, and entire dealer networks in the time it takes to launch a single model refresh. Farley has even driven Chinese EVs himself, studying their features and pricing firsthand. Internally, managers have fielded reports on BYD's plug-in hybrids and GWM's rally-tested pickups, tracking export figures and market launches across Latin America and Australia. The numbers keep climbing. BYD Shark's 5.7-second sprint to 60, GWM's 17,500 pickups shipped in a single month, Chang'an's $18,000 price tags that seem almost impossible. Yet, for all the urgency in private, Ford's public strategy has been to hold the line on price. The F-150 Lightning sticker shock isn't an accident, it's a calculated gamble. Executives have bet that American buyers will pay more for tradition, for the blue oval, for the comfort of a familiar dealer network. They've watched as competitors slash prices overseas, but inside Ford, the fear is that any move to cut prices here would spark a race to the bottom, a war they're not sure they can win. Instead, they've leaned on loyalty, hoping that decades of dominance will outlast the first wave of foreign challengers. Analysts have begun to question how long that BET can hold. One industry expert put it bluntly, BYD is going to force Ford into an existential crisis. They'll undercut on price, outpace on tech, and build in China with a cost structure Detroit can't match. That warning echoes in every strategy session. Ford's own filings with investors now single out Chinese competition as the #1 risk to future profits. Behind the scenes, teams are tasked with studying Chinese battery tech, mapping out tariff scenarios, and searching for ways to match the speed of their rivals. But the reality is hard to ignore. While Ford debates, Chinese trucks are already winning headlines, customers, and market share abroad. The stakes are clear. If Ford can't find a way to deliver more value for less money, the loyalty that built its empire may not be enough to save it. The existential threat isn't just coming, it's already here, and the old playbook may not have any answers left. Great Wall Motors' export numbers have become a warning shot that's impossible to ignore. In April 2025 alone, GWM shipped 17,500 POER pickups out of China, a 13.6% jump over the previous year. That figure isn't just a record, it's a sign that overseas buyers are voting with their wallets, and they're not waiting for Detroit to catch up. JAC, another rising force, sent 6,165 pickups abroad in the same month, riding a wave of 38% year-on-year growth. These aren't just isolated shipments to niche markets. The trucks are landing in Australia, Mexico, South America, places where American brands once dominated, now facing real competition from models that cost less and offer more. The reaction from buyers is already showing up in the data. A recent survey of US truck shoppers found that 42% would seriously consider switching to a Chinese-made pickup if it meant saving $10,000 or more. The average response on a 5-point scale, measuring willingness to test drive a Chinese truck, landed at 3.1 overall, but soaring to 3.6 among younger buyers and those earning less than $75,000 a year. Price sensitivity is even more dramatic. The mean score hit 4.2, with nearly 7 in 10 respondents saying they'd jump brands for a 5-figure discount. For families squeezed by $700 a month truck payments, the math isn't just tempting, it's overwhelming. The emotional connection to American trucks is real, but it's starting to crack under economic pressure. Focus groups reveal the split. Older buyers in the Midwest and South still talk about patriotism and reliability, but younger drivers in the West and Sunbelt are eyeing Chinese hybrids and EVs with open minds. For many, the old rules, buy American, pay the premium, trust the dealer up the road, are colliding with a new reality. When a GWM POER or JAC Hunter offers heated leather seats, wireless charging, and advanced driver assists for half the price of a stripped-down F-150, the value proposition is impossible to ignore. It's not just about features or price. The scale of this export surge is reshaping the global truck market. China's pickup sector, once an afterthought, is now valued at over $3.5 billion and climbing. By 2030, projections put that number above $4.1 billion, driven by relentless growth in overseas sales. The top models, GWM POER, JAC T8 Champion, BYD Shark, are gaining traction not just with fleet operators and businesses, but with everyday drivers looking for a deal that Detroit can't match. Every month, tens of thousands of these trucks roll off ships and onto new roads, chipping away at the idea that American pickups are untouchable. For US automakers, these numbers are more than statistics. They're a glimpse into a future where loyalty is no longer guaranteed and price is king. The disruption isn't a distant threat. It's happening now, measured in shipping containers, survey responses, and the restless search for a better deal. Analysts are already sketching out a future where Chinese pickups could grab as much as half the global truck market, a scenario that would have seemed impossible just a few years ago. The numbers driving these predictions are hard to ignore. In markets where tariffs are low or absent, Chinese trucks have surged from obscurity to mainstream in less than 2 years, undercutting rivals by $10,000 to $20,000 per vehicle. One industry expert put it this way: if tariffs drop or Chinese brands start building trucks in Mexico, the price gap could blow the doors off the American market. But that future isn't guaranteed. The single biggest obstacle to Chinese domination is the wall of tariffs and trade barriers that still shield the US market. Right now, imported Chinese vehicles face a baseline 25% tariff, already enough to erase much of the price advantage. And in 2025, the US government announced plans to hike tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles to 100%, a move designed to freeze out low-cost imports and protect Detroit's core business. For a $35,000 BYD Shark or GWM Power, that could mean a landed price of $70,000 or more. Overnight, the bargain disappears. Policy uncertainty makes every forecast conditional. Some experts predict that even with tariffs, Chinese brands could claim 10 to 15% of the US truck market by 2030, especially if they set up assembly plants in North America to sidestep import taxes. Others warn that without a major policy shift, Chinese pickups will remain a distant threat, locked out by trade rules and political pressure. The stakes are enormous. A 50% market share for Chinese trucks would mean billions lost for Ford, GM, and Ram, factories idled, jobs cut, and a seismic shift in what it means to buy American. Yet, the pressure keeps building. Tariffs may buy Detroit time, but they can't stop the march of innovation. As Chinese brands refine their hybrids and electrics, and as global supply chains adapt, the cost advantage grows harder to contain. In Australia, where tariffs are minimal, the GWM Power has already captured double-digit market share in under 24 months. In Mexico, the BYD Shark's waiting list stretches for months. The lesson is clear. When price barriers fall, buyers don't hesitate. Industry insiders are watching for any sign of policy change, an unexpected trade deal, a loophole in the rules, or the first joint venture factory on US soil. Every scenario is being modeled, every risk weighed. For now, tariffs remain the last line of defense, but the clock is ticking, and the next move could decide whether Detroit keeps its crown or watches it slip away, one sale at a time. Detroit stands at a crossroads, staring down a future that's arriving faster than anyone predicted. Ford, Chevy, and Ram have built empires on the back of full-size trucks, but the old certainties are slipping away. The question is no longer whether Chinese pickups will arrive in the United States. It's when and how hard they'll hit. BYD and Great Wall Motor are already mapping out North American launches, with insiders pointing to 2027 as the year a full-size Chinese-built truck could roll onto US soil, priced to undercut the competition and loaded with tech that Detroit is still racing to match. Inside the boardrooms, the pressure is growing by the day. Executives are forced to consider choices that would have been unthinkable a decade ago: slash prices and risk billions in lost profits, or hold the line and watch buyers drift toward foreign brands. The cost structure that once gave American trucks a home court advantage is now a liability. Chinese automakers are producing at scale, leveraging massive battery plants and supply chains that make it nearly impossible for Detroit to compete on price alone. If tariffs fall, or if Chinese brands set up shop in Mexico, dodging the steepest import taxes, the price gap could widen overnight. For the first time in generations, the fate of America's most profitable segment hangs in the balance. The choices aren't easy. Ford and GM could double down on loyalty, betting that heritage and an unmatched service network will keep buyers close. They could accelerate their own hybrid and EV programs, hoping to close the tech gap before the next wave of imports arrives. Or they could cut deals, joint ventures, local assembly, new badge-engineered models to try and buy time. Every scenario comes with risk. Move too slowly, and the market could be lost to a competitor that's already proven it can win abroad. Move too fast, and the entire profit engine that funds American innovation could grind to a halt. For the workers on the line in Dearborn, Flint, and Arlington, these aren't just boardroom hypotheticals. A wave of affordable, high-tech imports could mean factory slowdowns, layoffs, and shrinking paychecks. For the next generation of buyers, it's a question of whether the American truck will remain a symbol of pride or become a relic of a bygone era. And for the companies themselves, the clock is ticking. BYD's full-size pickup is aiming for a 2027 debut, and every month that passes brings that reality closer. Detroit's next move will decide not just the future of the truck market, but the future of American manufacturing itself. Detroit's grip on the American truck market isn't broken yet. But global pricing pressure and technology from China are now impossible to ignore. As tariffs, consumer expectations, and innovation collide, the rules are being rewritten in real time. Today, loyalty costs more than ever. Tomorrow, the winner will be whoever finally listens to what American drivers demand, not what legacy brands assume. What side of this line will you stand on? Let's talk in the comments.